talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers, so make sure, please share the channel with every single Bears fan that you know. That would be much appreciated. So as you guys already know, the Buffalo Bills decided to match the offer sheet that the Chicago Bears had for restricted free agent Ryan Bates. Obviously, Ryan Bates would have filled a huge hole on the Bears offensive line, which would have been right guard. And now the Chicago Bears have some catching up to do. Ryan Poles is under immense pressure, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm panicked at all, because there's still a lot of options for them to hopefully fill the right guard position. Obviously, we have also a huge hole at the left tackle position, but at the moment, we are going to focus at the right guard position. As it stands today, if Ryan Poles didn't make any more moves for some reason at the right guard position, the starting guard on the right side for the Chicago Bears would be Dakota Dozier. And I can sit here and say that that's not a good option at all. So Ryan Poles has a lot of work to do in terms of getting the offensive line to where it needs to be, because obviously losing out on Ryan Bates was a huge blow for Ryan Poles and the Chicago Bears. So today on Keek on the Mic, I am going to share with you guys the 4 offensive guards the Bears couldn't consider after missing out on Ryan Bates. And like always, as I go through these options, feel free to comment down below in the comment section. Let me know who you guys would target to fill the right guard void. So here we go. Let's start by looking at the NFL draft. Obviously, the Chicago Bears have 2 picks in the second round, at pick number 39 and at pick number 48. And as it stands right now, and this is going to be a lot for me to say, but for the longest time, I thought the biggest need for the Chicago Bears was wide receiver. But now it's looking like it's definitely going to be offensive line at pick number 39, especially knowing that the wide receiver class this year is very deep. So let's look at it. So some names that come to mind when I'm thinking about the guard position in particular is Zion Johnson, especially if he falls. I'm not sure if he's going to fall out of the first round, but if he does, I think that would be an outstanding pick at pick number 39. Zion Johnson would fit right in at the right guard position and definitely fill a huge void for the Chicago Bears. Rookie or not, I feel like he can fit in from day one and be a day one starter. This is a guy that is a balanced blocker, that he's good in pass and run protection, and he is really good in operating space, meaning that he can get to that second level. And he also brings that aggressive and physical mentality and is always looking to finishing his blocks, which is what Ryan Poles is stressing when he's looking for his offensive linemen. He wants his guys to be athletic. He wants his guys to be nasty. He wants his guys to be able to get to that second level and be a little bit fast. And that's what Zion Johnson brings. So, hey, if Zion Johnson happens to be there at 39, I would definitely run to the podium and select Zion Johnson out of Boston College to fill the right guard void that the Chicago Bears currently have. Another name that comes to mind is Dillon Parham out of Memphis. He stands at 6'3", 285 pounds. So obviously, he's a smaller guy. Parham is a very athletic, and it shows in his pass protection. Even though he has a smaller frame to him, he is not afraid to get dirty in the trenches. And obviously, there's going to be so many other options in the draft in terms of offensive line, but especially at the guard position. But these are just 2 of the names that come to mind. And just because you draft someone right here doesn't mean they have to start it right away. I'm about to give you guys a couple of other options as well in terms of veteran guards that are currently on the market. Let's say you sign a veteran guard. He can be a stopgap until we get one of these guys up to speed to put them at right guard. And I think currently that's what Ryan Poles is probably thinking about doing. So now let's take a look at the veteran market. And before I continue with this, going into the veteran market for the guard position, I just want you guys to know that this is not a long-term solution for the Chicago Bears. This would just be a stopgap option in order to get whoever you draft in the NFL draft, if they do in fact go right guard, to allow them to develop a little bit. So it's not a lot of pressure on, for example, if you draft Zion Johnson, right? It's not a lot of pressure on him to start right away, even though I think he could. So I'm hoping that they can probably try to get a right guard, a veteran right guard, for a cheap 2-year deal to come in and just be a solid player for the Chicago Bears until we can develop our younger talent. So the first guy that I'm going to mention on the veteran market is Ereck Flowers. He is 27 years old, stands at 6'6", 330 pounds. And guys, at the very least, Flowers has been a reliable guard for the last 2 seasons and has been able to stay healthy for the majority of his career. He played a full 16 games as left guard in 2019 for Washington and for the Miami Dolphins in 2020, and played solid for both teams. And let me tell you something about Ereck Flowers. He is not a world beater. He's not going to someone's going to come in and just be an absolutely game wrecker for the Chicago Bears. But he could prove to be a solid stopgap option for the Chicago Bears on a cheap deal while our draft picks get some time to develop. So I definitely wouldn't be mad at the Ereck Flowers signing, especially looking at his age. He's only 27 years old, so, and he has a lot of experience at the guard position, so that makes him an intriguing option for the Chicago Bears. The next player I have on my list is Trey Turner. He is 28 years old, stands at 6'3", 315 pounds. Turner is entering his 9th season and has plenty of experience at the guard position. In his first 6 seasons with Carolina, he was a Pro Bowler from 2015 to 2019. After being traded to the Chargers, he only played 9 games before being cut, so it didn't work out when he was traded to the Chargers. And then last year, he signed a 1-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he kind of rebounded a little bit, kind of got back to his old form. And this is just another guy that has a lot of experience at the right guard position and would come in and be a pretty solid veteran presence for this Chicago Bears offensive line. The added bonus that I like about Trey Turner, by the way, is that Turner has familiarity with the Chicago Bears' newest offensive line coach, Chris Morgan, as Chris Morgan was the one that coached the Steelers' offensive line last season when Trey Turner was a Steeler. So that could be some added motivation for Ryan Poles to try to get Trey Turner to be a Chicago Bear. Obviously, you can bring in Trey Turner for hopefully a cheaper 2-year deal, once again, as a stopgap option in order to let our young guys develop. So I wouldn't be mad at a Trey Turner signing whatsoever. The last person on my list is Quinton Spain. He is 30 years old, stands at 6'5", 335 pounds. And to me, like the other two, Spain would just be a very good pickup for the Chicago Bears. This is a guy that just plays clean football. This is a guy that doesn't get penalized a lot, and he just does the right thing. And obviously, with Matt Eberflus being the new head coach, he has made it very clear that one of his goals for the Chicago Bears football team is to not get penalized a lot. So you have to wonder, maybe Matt Eberflus would like a guy like Quinton Spain because Quinton Spain just does the right thing, doesn't get penalized. He's not a world beater. He's not the best guard available. But at the moment and what the Bears need, I think he would be a perfect option for, once again, maybe a little 1 to 2 year deal. He'll come in, bring that veteran presence, play solid football for you, what you need him to do while your young guys develop. And I think it would be a win-win for the Chicago Bears. And at the end of the day, we just need to worry about protecting Justin Fields. Any of these guys that I listed, I feel like they would come in, they would fit in right away. They would be your starter at right guard. Obviously, you can double dip, draft a right guard in the NFL draft as well, like a Zion Johnson, Dillon Parham. I think it would be a beautiful situation for the Chicago Bears, and I definitely think they need to consider one of these 3 guys. So like always, how do you guys feel about the guys that I listed in this video? And if you were Ryan Poles, who would you target at the right guard position? Would you look in the NFL draft, like at a Zion Johnson? Would you look at the veteran market and free agency? Or would you double dip at the right guard position? Let me know down below in the comment section. Obviously, Ryan Poles has a lot of work to do, but I have a lot of trust in him that he will get the offensive line right. Obviously, it's going to be a work in progress, but once again, like I tell you guys all the time, let's see the finished product before we just judge all the time. I know it's hard right now because you're kind of trying to picture what is his vision, but as a Bears fan, I can slowly see what he's trying to do. He's trying to build from the trenches out, right? He's trying to build that offensive line. He's trying to build that defensive line, and then he's going to worry about, about the wide receiver, right? So I could see what Ryan Poles is trying to do. So just hang in there and be patient with Ryan Poles. And I'm pretty sure at the end of all of this, we will have a pretty good Chicago Bears football team. So before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. And make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for an all-new Bears podcast right here on Keek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic.